Thank you. We are here tonight. This is December 14th, Tuesday, 6 p.m. for Charter Review Committee. It is our only meeting of this month, and if this is live or going out later, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody out there in listening world. I'll call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call vote, please.
Member Allen?
Here.
Member Bryan?
Here.
Member Philpitt?
Here.
Alternate Member Brower?
Here.
Alternate Member Ortiz Morales? I believe we got an email from her that she was not going to be here. Vice Chair Novick?
Here, ma'am.
And Chair Northey.
Here. So we have the full complement of the committee members here for voting purposes if we vote tonight. However, as always, we always encourage our alternates to speak up and join in the conversation. We'll ask Mr. Novick to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, and our first order of business is approval of minutes. Did everybody have an opportunity to read the minutes? Are there any corrections or data that is missing? Seeing none, we will file those minutes as presented. Okay. So we will now go to public forum, and I see no members of the public here to speak tonight. They're all out Christmas partying. So that's where we should be. Yeah. Before we move into business, I just want to make a suggestion to everybody that under new business that after we do 7A, what we had asked to have put on there, any other new business, I know there's a piece that's just come before us here, and I know there's a couple of other items that members have, that we defer that until our January meeting, and that we have maybe 2 meetings and try to wrap up our business by the end of January. This calendar says that it has to be completed by April, but I certainly think we're at the point with another couple of meetings we should be able to close up. So after we complete the agenda item 7A, we will defer any other new business discussion until January. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So old business was a review of research regarding the Volusia County Uniform Election Day Act, and there were a number of attachments there. I'm going to ask our attorney if she could just review this, because we asked her to do the research on it.
Sure.
Ms. Seaman?
This goes back to Deanie Lowe as supervisor of election. When she became the supervisor of election, she was concerned because the cities were having multiple elections over the entire year, and it was costing a substantial amount of money for her to staff and to operate those elections. There were elections in March, there were elections in June, there were elections in July. So she went to the legislative delegation and sought a special act for Volusia County that would keep the municipal elections all at the same time unless they opted out. It was presented to the city commission at the time before the legislative delegation took it up and took it to the legislature for approval. And it was written such that the cities could opt out or make additional changes to it to specialize it for their particular operation. But the entire intent of the Chapter 95-462 was to provide a uniform time and date for filing of candidates and elections, and so it would save Volusia County money in the long run. Deltona amended their election law to provide for some specifics related to how their candidates, actually their write-in candidates and their candidates' qualifications, but they have abided by the timeframes of the special act since it was adopted. That's my report.
Is there any questions for Ms. Seaman? Any comments to that? Are we happy with that information? Do we see any need to make any other recommendation? Okay. We'll move on to item 6B, review of research regarding the charter amendment process and what previous city commissioners had done with the charter review committee, submitted their reports, and there were some workshop minutes that were attached, and I'm going to open that up and first ask Ms. Seaman if she would give an overview of what she and I had talked earlier about what she found, and then we'll open it up for discussion with the committee members.
The charter is silent as to how the amendments actually are transferred to the city commission and then placed on the ballot. It says that there shall be a charter review commission. But it does not, other than saying there shall be 2 public hearings, and there needs to be 2 public hearings for an ordinance, it doesn't specify beyond that. Back in, I think it was 2005 or 2006, the charter review was rather prolific and proposed 16 amendments. And at that time, the city attorney advised that it was silent and it was up to the city commission how to interpret it and how to put the ordinance together. And the city commission at that time chose to analyze which ones they felt were the most important in order to winnow it down to a manageable number of charter amendments. And that has been the interpretation and policy since that time, that the City Commission has the ability to review and determine which amendments will go into the ordinance that they adopt, that is required by state law for the amendments to be placed on the ballot.
Okay. Is there a comment on that?
Just run that by me one more time about the city commission has the because of why.
If you read the charter,
Okay.
the charter is silent.
Correct.
And it's the charter is to be interpreted by the city commission.
Okay.
And the city commission at that time interpreted it to mean that they had the authority to reduce the number of amendments because there were just so many, and they didn't want to put 16. And ever since that time, they've continued with the interpretation that they have the authority to choose which amendments go on the ballot and which ones do not.
And that was based on the recommendation of the city attorney.
At that time.
Okay.
Is there any county or state statute that overrides any of that?
The only state law is in Chapter 166 as to how charters are to be amended, and it simply says that they are to be done by ordinance and placed on the ballot by ordinance. It does not specify beyond that. That does not mean that this charter could not be clarified, improved,
Amended.
changed to address the issue. But there's nothing that contradicts it. It's just simply was silent, and it was interpreted that way by the legislative body that had the authority to interpret it.
It was also silent, I believe, to the number of members of the Charter Review Commission as well.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
It
so
is.
that's decided. I don't know where they came up with 5 members, how that happened, but it seems like actually 5 members is a small number for a Charter Review Commission, that you would think there would be more. Mr. Novick, did I see you want to speak?
Yes, ma'am. I was just going to look real quick, but maybe the attorney knows. Does the charter say that this charter review committee is advisory?
It does not use that term, no, sir.
Okay. All right. I would put to the committee that we consider clarifying this in a charter amendment, and I would suggest that we would consider wording that might be similar to that of Volusia County's, where the findings of this committee, the Charter Review Committee, go to the commission to be placed on the ballot, not for the commission, not for the commissioners to be able to remove.
Pick and choose.
They could add.
Yes,
I
yeah.
think they could
They
always
can add,
add.
yeah.
I wouldn't want to take that away from the commission. But I don't think that it fosters an openness. It would, if we went through all this work, if this committee went through all of this work and
Exactly.
research, and it goes to the commission, and the commission says, oh, no, we're not going to listen to what you guys had to say, we're going to do our own thing, then that kind of really invalidates the intent of what the Charter Review Committee is for. So I would say we should come up with some language that takes what this committee does, presents it to the commission, and then it goes onto the ballot. And possibly the process would even be for this committee and the commission to meet together before this commission this committee is dissolved, to take input from the commissioners, or we might want to just work that into the process. I don't know how we would do that. The other component to that, I think, is the language should be that each commissioner and the mayor makes an appointee to this charter.
You and I have not talked, but they were going to be my recommendation.
Yes, so that there's
Just those two.
representation from across the city. They would have to appoint somebody from their district,
Yeah.
and that they would make the appointment. It wouldn't be a thing where the majority of the commission votes who
Right.
goes on to this, because again, there's a control issue that can take place there possibly.
The mayor
So-
has an at-large vote, and the
Yeah.
commissioners.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely right there. I have that in my notes.
I just think that that's a better way to let the people have input into this, because if you take what we've done here, all this research, all this work, staff's time, and it gets presented to the commission just goes, we don't want to do that, or whatever.
Yeah, I understand what happened when you present 14 amendments, but I really think that maybe was some poor staff work and chair work that allowed that to happen, because, you're not going to put 14
Well,
amendments on a... I don't know what the-
I remember back to that time. I was an employee back then, and it was a new city. So
So it goes that far back?
it was relatively new. I mean,
okay.
we're still relatively new now in the grand scheme of things. So there was a lot of tug and pull
Yeah.
kind of things going on. A lot of people didn't like the fact that we became a city, and so they were trying to put other
Oh, okay.
factors in that would put controls on things, and a lot of stuff that probably shouldn't have even been considered to be put into the charter took place at that time. So, but I really think that this committee's work is really more representative. It's supposed to be more representative, I think, of what the people want. It's a shame that most all of our meetings here, I think we've only maybe had one person from the public,
yeah.
one or two people from the public come, or maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they just think that the charter's pretty good the way it is. I don't know.
Well, I was going to suggest in January at one of our meetings, final meetings, that we ask the Community Relations Department of the city to put out a press release that would be widely distributed, encouraging people that this is their opportunity, their final opportunity to speak to the Charter Review Commission before it goes, forward, and just kind of a reminder of the business that we're doing.
But
Maybe they'll-
if it's the will of the committee to at least have a discussion and let staff do some research, bring us back some examples, if it's the will of the committee to do that, I'd like to schedule then that
I
item
certainly
for
would
January.
support that. I'd like to hear from other members of the
Thank you, Madam Chair.
commission. I think that was actually on my notes, and I think what needs to be clarified for the public, that when you do a charter review commission or a committee, whichever you call it, that in fact that their work is for the people and it goes directly on the ballot. And I do agree that each member of the policy-making body should have representation on the commission. So is there anybody who opposes looking at language for that? Ms. Seaman, do I see your?
I just want to make sure I've got this correct. You would like to see language that each city commissioner appoints a member from their district, the mayor from at-large, that you're looking for to establish this as an independent charter review committee to propose amendments for consideration by the electorate, and that it shall be a ministerial act to include the charter amendments on the ballot.
Yes.
Yes.
You got it.
Is that, Madam Chair, you need to give me some consensus or?
I'm looking around and seeing.
I'll make that in the form of a
You want to make that in
motion.
form of a motion? Is there a second? And seconded by Philpott. And other discussion? Did I see your hand, Phyllis?
Yeah, I guess because I ain't come last week, I know y'all probably went over a lot. I tried to do the catch-up thing. I'm kind of a little confused because in the new charter that we were discussing earlier, you guys wanted to do citywide elections for
We did
everybody,
vote
right?
on a charter amendment, yes.
Okay, and so even though we doing the citywide, they still going to be considered districts.
They have to live in a district, but they run citywide.
Okay, I'm just trying
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
it, you know.
That,
yeah.
well, that is the amendment.
Right, right,
what
what we were trying to do, that they have the district, so the proposal that we're making now, which I agree, you know, with what we were saying, that each district should have someone representing in the charter review. I
Right.
do agree with that.
Right.
But I was just getting a little confused because we were talking about doing, you know, the citywide voting.
Oh, I understand.
So I didn't know whether
Yeah.
the citywide voting mean we were going to get rid of districts or how that works.
No, it'd be live in a district, but run citywide.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, so other comments to the
You
motion?
want to change section 11, paragraph 2B, from where it says 5 members on a charter review to 7.
To 7. And
Why-
that each member,
why do you feel that's a
of the,
needed process?
each member of the policymaking body has a representative on the charter review.
So you want to take and have each one of those people up there appoint somebody
Yes, that would
that
be,
they think is their representative of their views.
yeah, that's what I would think, yeah.
rather than
Not necessarily of their
Yeah.
views, but somebody that they have confidence in and trust to do the
Rather
job.
than what we just did is have us put in applications
Well, you would,
because we wanted to change.
well, you would
the
still put an
charter.
application in, but it would be, you'd expand the board to 7 or the commission to 7, and each member of the
Well,
policy,
I don't mind changing to 7.
Okay.
But what I have a problem with is when you take and think that they up there should have an appointee of them,
well, we disagree on that, I guess.
rather than what we just did is basically have people randomly, rather than from districts.
If they're from district, then the whole city is represented.
What district are you in?
5,
What district are you in?
6.
6.
5,
So, I mean, I'm in.
So there you go.
So, I mean, we're pretty representative of the city.
No, we not.
no, we're not.
Actually, yeah, because what was she, 3?
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm
not
in-
you. The
Oh,
one was here.
oh, I don't
I
know.
think she was 3.
Oh, I don't know what she is.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, but how many applications do we have?
Well, and that is a good comment, but it's also the responsibility of the elected leadership to appoint people, to go out and secure nominations. I'm sorry, I believe that strongly, that they have a responsibility to make sure that their
you
boards,
want them-
at any
You
level.
want them to control.
That's not control.
Makes up the data, that is.
No, it's not
Yeah, it is.
They control it now anyways.
Only
Well, that's
to a
true,
certain point.
because now they get to,
They control it completely right now.
yeah, they do.
If you have a split commission up there and you have a 4-3, they can stack, those 4 can stack this committee
Yeah, that's true.
with whoever they want. to
with a random vote like they just had, which they had to do 4 times to get it correct.
They could vote the same way. They could vote as a block, and you've seen it done on many issues before where there's a 4-3 split historically through multiple different managers, through multiple different mayors and commissions. That has been
So
the
you're
case.
stacking it even more to them.
No, I'm
No,
giving
it's-
each individual commissioner.
stacking it to me.
Well, I'm sorry, I disagree with you.
I would disagree with
And we'll just
that.
have to
Yeah,
disagree on
yeah.
that, because I think that it shows more diversity across the city to have each commissioner pick an appointee from their district, rather than you could wind up, as we have here, we have 2 people from 6, 3
people
from
from
5.
I'm from 6.
Okay, 3 from 6 and 2 from 5.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, that's,
But you got to remember that there was, what, 8, 9, 10 people that actually applied?
But that's where the commission has a responsibility to seek quality
But you could
applications.
say that for every.
I would say it for every one of them.
For all of the committees.
I would say that for all the
Okay,
committees.
Let's go back to what
That's
they just said a
problematic.
couple weeks ago, that it's been hard for the last 5 years to get anybody to apply.
Well, that's
And they were
part of
going
their
off of 2-
job.
and 3-year applications.
and
Well,
that's across all their committees.
But that's
In fact,
part-
That's my point.
In fact, they just
Part of
disbanded.
their
point as
job.
well.
They just
That's part of their job
disbanded.
to find those people. That means they have to get out into the community and talk to people, interview people. That's their job. I'm sorry, I don't buy this from them that this is such a difficult thing. If you're concerned about if in fact you
Thinking like a council person and not as a citizen.
excuse me.
You're thinking like a council person and not as a citizen.
I'm thinking that as a citizen, I was asked by several people to apply for this position. So I did.
one.
Yeah, you being one. And there were several others. I had several of the policymakers that reached out. And that's what they should be doing all the time for any board, is reaching out and trying to find quality people to fill positions. I
think that citizens should want to apply.
I think maybe citizens don't know that the boards are there or that they have the opportunity. I don't think,
I disagree with that.
well,
I'm
What
gonna
I
have
see is
to,
the citizens don't want to be involved in it.
I disagree
Phyllis.
because I'm gonna have to agree with you, Madam Chairperson. I didn't know. I didn't, right? And I just put it out there, that I wanted to do something like that. And I didn't even know that they had a website for me to sign up to get newsletters. And I just recently found out, because I'm with the West Volusia Chambers, giving us a shout out, that, they have the Deltona TV. I just found that out. I don't even know what channel come on. It's a YouTube.
no, they have a.
It's on the
Did you see what I'm
cable.
saying?
It's
A
on
lot of
cable
us
and it's
don't know.
streamed.
Yeah, 491, I
So, like
think.
you said earlier, Madam Chairperson, whoever that communication department is, or public relations, to let the citizens of Deltona know that these positions are available for us to apply for. You know what I'm saying?
I think we can do a better job here. Okay, so
I mean, I know you more engaged, and everything, and you have your ear on the streets, but I understand what you're saying.
but not everybody's Elbert, and that's a good point. Mr. Brower, let me go to Mr. Brower, and then I'll go to Mr.
I
Philpott.
mean, just the mere fact that we get so few people doing this, and I'm with you, I just didn't know that it was that available to just avail yourself to this kind of thing. But that being said, you guys had to go out and find us. So to have each one of them go out and find their own within their district, first of all, stacking, I mean, what could they possibly get out of it if they found somebody that is not related or not, I mean, just the ethics rules alone you would think would keep them from trying to find an insider.
What ethics?
But even so, even if they found somebody that agreed with all of their views, I'm not really sure how much effect that would have, but getting each one of them to do exactly what you did, only within their districts, then you're going to get that diversity that you're after, somebody from each district. And again, as hard as it was for us to find these few people, it's going to be
Yeah.
just as hard for them.
Thank you.
To get a good class of people. a good
Mr.
variety
Philpott,
of people.
do you have some thoughts on that?
I've been on everything from the city's rep to the Volusia Growth Management Commission to scholarship committees, and I've always been appointed by somebody or everybody in the case of the Volusia County Growth Management. After the appointment, I never once had somebody from the council come to me and say, this is what I
Yeah,
want you to do.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, I mean, I got appointed to do it, and then
You had an independent voice.
I did what I thought I was doing.
Yeah, okay.
How do we empower them to do that? To find their own people? I mean, would there be a...
Well, the charter would speak to that.
Yeah.
If we
Yeah.
created this language and it was approved by the voters, then the public would say that's what we want, or they would take Albert's position and say, no, that's not what we want. But I think, you know, right now, I don't know, Joyce, do we still have Parks and Rec Committee? No, okay. What's a committee we have?
We have P and Z.
Scholarship Committee, okay. So commissioners now have the opportunity to go through the applications to appoint somebody to the Scholarship Committee, and then the commission as a whole votes on that
Yes, that-
recommendation. Now,
exactly.
traditionally, it's just like a rubber stamp almost if somebody recommends that. But this is significantly more important, if you will, I think, than, and not to demean the people on the scholarship committee, I don't want to make it sound that way, but this is the Bible. This is what runs everything and what the commission is supposed to be guided by as their guiding document. So when the people have broad representation from across the city, I think it produces a better document than that can bypass, if you will, the commission's approval to putting it on the ballot. It kind of should follow along the same guise as the commission districts, if you will. They're going to vote on, the city's going to vote on it as a whole, but what brought everything to the table was a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and not any one half of the city. So Albert, I respect your position. I just disagree with it, and I would like to be able to move this along, have a little more discussion in January.
So if you can restate your motion so that we have it correctly.
My motion was what the attorney read to us as her understanding of what we wanted.
So everybody understands what the motion is, to increase the size of the committee to 7 by appointment individually by members, and to have it go directly to the ballot.
That's correct.
Okay, well, and we don't have any language back yet, so
This
we'll
is
see
just
what
to get
this
it,
is
this
to get it.
discussion
We
going.
would also address how they're going to do that as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking
I
about
don't think
that.
you want to get too in the weeds in a charter.
Well, let's see what language we
Yeah,
come up
come
with
with.
in discussion.
Yeah.
This is just to,
How they're going to do it.
this is just to create the discussion for us,
Okay.
to move it forward to January
All
to have
those-
some
All
samples.
those in favor?
Before you vote,
Yes.
That's a good point. I know it's not for us to discuss it right now, but what you kind of in my head a little bit too. It's kind of like okay, I like the idea of them appointing people, right? But what I think it should be, to be honest, I think that just how the city does it, how you apply.
Sure.
I think
absolutely.
that-
Sure, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
versus them like just saying, hey, you.
Oh, no, I think you have to have an application process.
Within that district, and
Yeah.
everybody should know, maybe
Sure.
we should get some
Yeah.
mailings or whatever, and then say, hey, we're looking to appoint someone for this particular committee. If you're interested, apply. You know what I'm saying? Not so much that they just say,
On
and
any
I see his
committee-
concern, like, hey, I'm gonna appoint my drinking buddy. You understand?
No, I think there was maybe some misunderstanding. I
Right.
think there's a
That's what you
process that you
kinda
go
thinking
through,
of.
an application process, just like there
Right.
was this, but that it would be more diverse on a board, because then you would would be, as
No, I
up
agree
there.
with it. No, I agree with it. I'm just thinking
Okay.
about the process.
Whenever we had an opening on a
like when he
board,
was saying you don't want people to, like he said.
whenever we had an opening on the board, the applications would go to the clerk would disseminate those
Yeah.
applications to the commission. When I looked at those, I looked at two things. I looked at people that I thought, based upon their applications, were appropriate for that committee, but I also then looked at trying to appoint people from my district to that committee, because I felt that was my responsibility to show representation on Parks and Rec Committee, on Scholarship Committee, on Charter Review Committee, whatever, to get representation from my district onto that
No,
committee.
no, I agree with that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, well then, let's have a vote. We don't need to take a roll call vote because this is not the charter language. So all those in favor of this, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, carries.
I do
on a
have a
4-1.
question, though. I mean, it's not about it's something about what we just talked about, but I read all of the, let me put my glasses on. Where's my glasses?
They're right on your face.
Okay, there they go. The Senate bill that you guys did, the 9708, and it was 2014, I believe. These little sections. Yeah, 2014. Why did you guys get this for us to read? These right here.
Okay, I did not bring all of my stuff, so I'm not sure what you're
Okay.
referring to. Oh, are you referring to the workshop information? Mm-hmm. Okay, Joyce would have researched that.
No, I'm saying, what was the purpose of us getting this? Because I wasn't at that.
Oh, okay, because there was a question about how we got to the place where the commission chose to review the work of the charter review.
Okay.
And we asked for some historical background.
Okay.
So that's how it got
I was
pulled.
just wondering how I got.
Oh, yeah.
2014 was a trip.
Yeah, there was a lot. I'm sorry. I read it online. I didn't look at it in that purpose. Okay. So moving on to new business, we have review and discussion of member proposed charter amendments and policy recommendations. And I don't know whether you want to bring those forward and have the discussion, or whether you want to hold this until January.
I thought that's what we were doing. I thought we were deferring it.
I would like to defer it till January, but I just want to put it into the public record, so, okay. Are we good with that, deferring this until January? And I would just suggest if there's something that, and I'm going to ask the attorney this to be sure that we're okay. If a member has something that they want to present, can they put it through Ms. Rafferty, and that can be distributed in advance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you have something that is burning that you want to talk about, if you want to get it to Joyce, that's not a requirement because we're going to be transparent and open, but if you want it to be seen prior, for people to think about it, get it to Joyce.
She can attach it to the agenda so that you all can consider it. Yes.
Kind of like this one here.
But it only goes to her.
Send
Right,
it to
only
Joyce.
go-
Joyce will
to
distribute it
Joyce.
through the agenda, yes.
Okay, all right.
If I could just add, we should have a deadline for that. Joyce, do you want to give them a deadline?
Yeah.
Oh,
We're doing January 11th as our next meeting?
I would need it by December 4th, or sorry, January 4th.
okay. We can get it to you. Okay, January 4th, everybody.
Because the agenda will go out the 5th, so
Yeah.
you'll have 5 copies.
Yeah. Okay, with that, Deputy City Manager, do you have any comments? Anybody from the board, from the committee that have comments?
Just a
Mr.
question.
Philpott? Sure.
The one I submitted here.
Yeah.
Is that going to be included?
Yes,
in your packet?
Yeah, that will be included in next package. Okay, all right. Okay, if that's it, then we are adjourned, and if you can still get to parties between now and 7th, go enjoy the holidays. Thank you all very much. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You
And
too.
we'll see you in January, and thank you, staff, for all the good work that you all do here. We appreciate it. We're grateful.
It would have to be something new in here. 'Cause
Joyce, I signed these.
I wrote down the new rules. First started. Okay. And then it went in.